Welcome to the Las Vegas IT Podcast. My name is Shatoy Marie, and today we have Ray Marquise. Super excited to have you here with us. How are you doing today, Ray?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. And can you just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in the field of software consulting?
Yeah, definitely. And before I dive into that, I just wanted to give a little overview of some of the things I want to go into for our listeners. I'm actually an independent consultant, and I think a lot of people in IT have an opportunity to maybe change the way they work. And I want to share my story, why this is a huge trend, and some of the benefits and challenges and gotchas, so that they might have another path besides the corporate ladder. So just wanted to shout out with that first. So I'm an independent Oracle Cloud consultant, basically an enterprise software consultant. And that means that I take software that large companies purchase and I implement it. So that's a little different than a software developer who makes software. So I'm non-technical. And so I specialize in Oracle Cloud HCM, which is one of the types of Oracle applications out there.
Got it. And so when you say implement it, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, so I work with enterprise clients. So that's a company from 2,000 employees up to several 100,000. And these software systems are so complex. There's so many features. They need a specialist like myself to come in and help them, advise them on how to make the system work for their business. And so I'll spend 6 to 12 months discussing how the system works and how their business process works and matching those together.
Got it. And a software like Oracle, could you just kind of share with us kind of what that offers?
Yeah. So Oracle, these companies are so big. Oracle has supply chain management. They have financials. They have enterprise resource planning, ERP. The areas that I'm specialized in is called human capital management. So it's basically HR software. So everything from the company's benefits for their employees, compensation packages, recruiting, onboarding, performance management, training and development, career development, things like that.
Got it. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Ray.
Sure.
And what led you to specialize in the implementation of Oracle Cloud HCM applications?
Well, I started out as a freelance web designer, and did that in my 20s, and kind of stumbled on this consulting opportunity from a friend, and found that it was a perfect fit for the work that I was doing. Just instead of working with small mom and pop businesses, I'd be working with large enterprises, and of course with that, much bigger paychecks. Mm-hmm. And once I got into the consulting industry, I found it was a perfect fit and loved it. And I've just been specializing in that ever since.
That's pretty amazing. So thank you for sharing that with us, Ray. And so before you got into the Oracle Cloud HCM applications, you were creating websites. Was there particular websites you were creating?
I would do mostly WordPress. So in high school and college, I do computer repair, virus removal, things like that. And then I do, websites for small business. I did some e-commerce, things like that. And I also had a startup on the side that I did with a friend where we sold real estate flyer templates to real estate agents. It was called Turnkey Flyers. Mm-hmm. And we did that for several years, and it worked out pretty well as like a side hustle. But I wanted something a little more serious, and that's how I got into consulting.
Got it. I feel like a lot of us, before we truly decide what we want to do with our lives, it takes a few other things before we get there. So that's awesome. Yeah. What are some of the challenges you faced, Ray, running a consulting agency, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah. So I'll just give you a little story on how I started the agency. So I started consulting in 2012, enterprise software consulting. I learned the business pretty well at a small boutique consulting company called K-Base Technologies. There's about 300 employees working there. It was a high performance culture, great camaraderie. The company was acquired by Cognizant, which is a 300,000 person company that services Fortune 500 with their IT and things like that. So obviously a huge difference in culture, and a lot of my former bosses left, a lot of my colleagues left, and I realized that maybe I wasn't a good fit either. So I decided to go independent in 2018, and from there it was a whole new world opened up doing independent consulting. And by that I mean, instead of working for a consulting company, being employed by them, I would be a contractor. And so I would contract with other consulting companies to do the same job that I was already doing. In 2021, I hired a buddy, and then hired a few other team members, and some new, some experienced, trained them. And now I have a consulting company with several other teammates, and we take on the projects. And I try and keep the workflow coming, and just been getting that steady. And then that's allowed me to work on some other side projects. So that's some of the exciting things I've been doing lately.
Awesome. That's very, very exciting. And so when it comes to consulting, could you just share with us a little bit more about that?
What parts were you thinking?
Well, when it comes to consulting, like, I guess I know you mentioned HR within the Oracle Cloud. Like, what else does that include?
We specialize in the recruiting module, the learning management module, and talent management. So those are the types that we implement. And so, yeah, I mean, that we work with a lot of other consulting companies, and the industry is really built around relationships. And I was fortunate enough to build some good relationships early on. And at my job, I always help people out. I always try to share my knowledge, and wasn't competitive in that sense. I always was cooperative, and that really helped me later when I went independent, because now all those people work at different companies, and now I've got great connections everywhere.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you for sharing. And one of the things you mentioned before was WorkStreamer. Could you just share with us what inspired you to create WorkStreamer projects, and how does it cater to consultants?
Yeah. So that's one of the side projects that we were talking about before the call. So when I went independent, I realized that these companies that I work for, before I was just working at one company. Now I'm working with many different consulting companies, servicing the end client. And a lot of these companies don't have software to do the daily work of a consultant. Even at my original job, we just use Excel documents for everything, and it's very clunky. And I figured, why not digitize this and make it more efficient? And so I created a tool called WorkStreamer. And there's two products in WorkStreamer, and one is called WorkStreamer Project, and that's a lightweight project management tool. So consultants can take notes, they can track requirements for their client, they can manage open items, and have client sign off all within the app. And before, that was all done through Excel and emails, and it's still primarily done through Excel and email, and some other tools that aren't really a good fit. So that's the first product. The second product is WorkStreamer Guide, and that's a training guide creator. So part of consulting is you have to train people how to use the system. And so I'm working with people at the company. I train them, and then they train their employee population, which could be thousands or tens of thousands of employees. Previously, I'd be going and taking screenshots one at a time, putting them in Word. And this tool that I created, well, actually, I acquired this tool and brought it in. It's an automated screenshot capture tool. So you install it in your browser, you activate it, it captures screenshots on every click and compiles that into a guide or a video or an embedded training guide. And you can put that in your knowledge base.
Oh, wow. So it just makes everything easier. Is that kind of what I'm...
Oh, yeah, exactly. So as a consultant, it lets you offer more training to your clients, and in turn, more training to their end users.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. And then could you just give us a quick sneak peek into an upcoming book that you're currently working on, the Bandwidth Hero Blueprint?
Yeah. So as I talked about my journey going independent in 2018, since then, a lot of my colleagues have asked me about going independent. A lot of people in my industry, they tell me, I've always wanted to go independent, but I just don't know where to start. I don't know how to do it. And so I started having a lot of conversations, coaching people, training or telling them everything that I've learned. And I ended up just putting it into a book. And that book is called Bandwidth Hero Blueprint. And it's a guide to becoming an independent ERP consultant. But it could also apply to more broadly to other folks in similar industries that want to go independent. There's that's taken shape. Now, I went independent in 2018, and according to the research that I've done, the independent market was kind of stable at that time, the number of independents. In 2020, that all changed. So I have some statistics here I want to share.
You want me to share? You want to be able to share your screen?
No, I can just share from here. So the average employee tenure is at its lowest level since 1980 at 4.1 years. And for workers under 35, it's 3.5 years. So employees are staying at their jobs 3 to 4 years on average, which is crazy. It's just a generation or two ago, people were staying at jobs for decades, maybe their entire life. And now we're hopping jobs every few years.
I know that's true, especially here in Las Vegas. People, I would have thought the average was less. So 4 years is great.
And it makes sense because you get benefits from leaving. You might get a bump in pay if you are competitive and you want to switch and get a market rate. And you also might want different skills and have broader experience. So there's a lot of reasons for that. And also people want to find what they like, and maybe they don't like the first job that they're at. Here's another statistic. The number of full-time independents increased by 69% from 2020 to 2022, which is mind-blowing that it's been that huge of a jump in just a few years.
Right.
And really, COVID changed everything. So when COVID happened, employers were putting more restrictions on employees, governments were putting restrictions. Some people were out of work and were forced to go independent. So for all these reasons, the independent world exploded. And also remote work, the ability to work remotely opened up the job market. So you weren't limited by geography so much. So it opened up your talent pool as an employer and opened up your job search as an employee. And then lastly, 77% of employers plan to increase contingent hiring over the next 5 years. And these stats are according to MBO Partners as of 2022 in their State of Independence report. That means that the majority of companies are now working more with contractors. They plan to work more with contractors. It's not as rare of a thing. A lot of companies made it their policy not to do that in the past. And now it's something that they're either forced to do or choose to do to leverage high quality talent rapidly to react to the market. Because if you hire someone, you need to train them. You need to get them up to speed. There's a lot of onboarding with contingent workers. You can just get them in and get them going right away. And also you don't have as much risk. So when we have an economy that's volatile, contractors are a safe bet because you can pay them for a fixed period or a fixed project and not have them on payroll. So all those are some pretty incredible trends.
Got it. No, totally agree. Do you feel like with COVID and people, returning back to work, do you feel like the people who were remote, do you feel like they went back to work, or do you feel like people are still working remotely?
I would say people have embraced at the minimum hybrid work and in some cases full remote. I know in my line of work, the amount of travel has gone down drastically. And again, this is another huge opportunity for people that are independent, because if you're independent and you're working remotely, you can take on more work because you can handle more clients because you don't have to travel. I mean, if you have a client and you're on site every day, you're limited to one client. But if you work remotely and you're very efficient and productive, you could take on more work than that and just get a lot done in a day. And it opens up a lot of opportunity for salary increases and business growth. So yeah, so that's really what the book's about. So the book, I start with how I got into the industry of consulting, how someone that's new might be able to break into it. It is kind of a tough industry to break into. And there's a lot of other independent freelancers out there that are in similar industries that could go independent if they're an employee currently. But the second part of the book is making that shift into becoming a small business owner, being independent. It's really changing your mindset to be a small business owner. And then after that, changing it to become an entrepreneur. So creating a business that runs whether you show up or not. And that means bringing in other people to help you with the work. So with me, I had such a good pipeline of work that I was turning down a lot of work, and I decided, well, why don't I bring some people on and they can help take on this work and I can share in some of the profit and they can get a great salary and income as well. And so that's the shift from small business owner to entrepreneur. And then from there, the last chapter is about making the shift from entrepreneur to investor. And I share some of the investment strategies that I have and some things such as investment vehicles and mindset shifts and things like that.
That's amazing. And thank you for sharing that. And then what is the Bandwidth Hero AI and how does it support independent software consultants in finding work?
Yeah. So as an independent consultant, I'm out there trying to find work for myself and my team. It's a very kind of old kind of industry. And so everything's word of mouth, relationships. A lot of projects are just put out to people that the company knows first. There's not really like a central place to find work. So, I mean, you have places like LinkedIn and other sites, and there's Upwork for kind of the other types of IT. But specifically for contract work, I wanted to create a platform where consultants can come and find work that's just for them, and the system will know if it's for them. And so they can basically turn on their availability when they want work and turn it off when they don't want work. Just like an Uber driver can turn on the app and be open to taking rides, or turn it off and not be open to taking rides. So I really want it to be that simple. So that's something that I'm working on right now. It's still in the early stages, but I want to create a platform for independent freelance software consultants to find work and make themselves available to these companies and really break through all the complexities and middlemen in the enterprise industry. You do have a lot of middlemen, and on a typical project, you might have an enterprise client, and they hire a company A, and then that company A doesn't have enough people to do the project, so they'll subcontract a company B to fill in some of the gaps. And that company B might not have enough people, and so they'll hire individual contractors, and those individual contractors might not be available, so they'll even hire a recruiting agency. So you might have 2 consulting companies and a recruiting agency in between the worker and the client. So it's a tremendous amount of middlemen. My idea to kind of make something a little more efficient for the market.
That's great. And how you said you're still that's not yet available?
No, it's in the early stages. So the book is going to be coming out in January of 2025. And then I'm hoping to have the network available either shortly before that or shortly after that.
Oh, awesome.
I do have a private network right now that I run with some folks that I know in my network. But yeah, it's underway.
Awesome. So it's January of 2025, you have your book coming out. Yep. And then the application that you were talking as well. So you have a lot of great things coming up. Are these these books or this book, is it going to be available on Amazon? Like, where can someone find it?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to distribute it yet, but if you go to bandwidthhero.ai, you can find that. There is going to be some AI components to the platform so that the system will know your expertise and won't send you work that's not relevant to you. But one of the things that I learned going independent is the risk and security of being an employee versus being independent. And when I talk to a lot of people that are considering going independent, they are very hesitant and they don't want to leave the secure job. And I contemplated that a lot, and I realized that in your early in your career, having an employee position at a company is probably a little more secure than going independent. But as you get further along in your career and your salary gets higher and matures, and there might not be a lot of places for you to go above you, you actually become at a great risk. And I've seen folks that have put off going independent because it's too scary. And then the market turns and the company lets them go because their salary is too big and they didn't have enough work to keep that person busy. And now they're forced to go independent. So, my mindset has shifted on that a lot. Going independent, the hardest part of going independent is the beginning. Once you go independent, it gets easier from there if you can do it.
Got it.
So I recommend people maybe work at a company, build your network, build your relationships, build your expertise, your resume, and then look at contracting opportunities in that industry and plan your jump. If you do want to go independent, it opens up so many opportunities as far as increasing your salary, increasing the amount you pay yourself, tax benefits because you're running as a business instead of as an employee. So you have access to cash before it's taxed in some cases, and tax deductions and things like that. And you can avoid some of the payroll taxes. Also flexibility. You can choose what you work on and many other benefits. The hardest part though is finding the work. That's why I wanted to create the book and the platform to kind of alleviate that part.
Got it. And I totally understand the whole security. I'm the one that does the hiring within our company as well, so I get it. And so when it comes to someone I know the application is still in the process, but is there going to be like certification someone needs to get onto the application, or like how does that work?
So I think it'll probably be private to start. So you can apply, and then I would look at each person, and I'm going to be starting in the Oracle space because that's where my expertise and my network is. And we'll be expanding to other parts of Oracle and then other software platforms, Workday, SAP, all these other platforms. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and then potentially beyond that as well. Something else that I want folks to consider is when you go independent, you want to think about the market that you're in. So for instance, I'm in the Oracle ecosystem. And so Oracle has a sales team that is out there selling Oracle nonstop. And so I don't have to work as much on marketing myself because Oracle's doing that for me. They're selling businesses on Oracle. Once those businesses buy Oracle, now they need someone to set it up. They hire a company, and then that company hires me to help them. It's not as hard to market myself. Now, if you're a developer and you're specialized in Java or C++ or something like that, is there a sales team for Java? Is there a sales team for C++? You're not really in an ecosystem in the same way that Oracle's out there selling and lining up the customers for you. So really, when you go independent in one of those types of industries or verticals, I guess, you have to do a lot more marketing. And that's where I think people get challenged with being independent. So you want to align yourself with an existing ecosystem or marketplace where there's already a team out there marketing and doing the work. Now, you could do something like Shopify. You could be Shopify expert, for example. And Shopify is heavy in marketing. They're making those sales and those transactions through their marketing. Oracle's more of a sales organization, so they're doing it through sales. But when you consider going independent, you want to take your skills and you want to apply them to an ecosystem where that marketing is done for you. The sales is done for you. Otherwise, it could be a little challenging.
Got it. No, that's awesome. That's even possible. Yeah. So that's so good to hear. And then within the book, are you going to teach them on how to build those relationships like Oracle?
Yeah. So if you wanted to go specifically to something like Oracle, I do outline my game plan to breaking into the enterprise software consulting industry. And that would apply to Oracle, Workday, SAP, Salesforce, some of those big platforms. The same kind of strategies I outline can help you get in there. It is a tough industry to get into. You really need someone to help you and take you under the wing and show you the system, because if you're fresh with no experience, someone really has to take a chance on you and invest in you. So it's tough. It's tough to get in, but I do share some strategies around that. For example, finding out the conferences, going to the conferences, meeting people. Sometimes those conferences give you free training, so you actually have some experience. That can kind of get your foot in the door, and you can say you actually do have some experience, and it's more likely someone would take a chance on you in that respect.
Got it. Awesome. And then how do you envision the future of Bandwidth Hero AI in the competitive landscape of consultant networking platforms?
Yeah, so my vision for Bandwidth Hero is that you would have a platform that's as intelligent as an executive recruiter, that you can go in there and and just upload your resume or give it your LinkedIn, and it'd know you. Maybe you would do an interview with an AI for a few minutes, and it would understand what you do, what your expertise is, and then it would just go out there and find you work, bring it back to you, bring back relevant projects to you. And likewise for companies that want someone, they can put in what they want, and the system will automatically match them with people. So it would really be the end of job applications, because job applications are less than useful nowadays. If you want to apply to a job, you can just put that job into an AI, and now you have a job application that perfectly matches the job description. And it's a little harder for employers to find the right people. So, yeah.
Got it. Oh, thank you. And so what are some of the current trends in the IT consulting industry, particular in the of Oracle Cloud HCM?
Well, the one trend that we talked about was going independent. I really think that is where the market is in consulting. Like I said, the economies are becoming less predictable, more volatile. And this model of being independent has so many benefits. You have a business structure. You're bringing money through a business instead of as an employee. So you have some protection. You have tax benefits. You have cash flow benefits. And the business also has benefits. They have less overhead, less risk in payroll overages, and it's more adaptable to the market. And it's also, I mean, in the post-COVID era, I think it just makes sense. So that's the biggest trend that I see, is independent workers evolving. And specifically in Oracle, I mean, right now AI is huge. So how do we use AI? How do we leverage it? In the book, I share a few things. There's something called robotic process automation. So as a consultant, if you can get more work done faster, you can take on more work, take on more projects, get paid more. So robotic process automation and other AI tools are one of the things that I've used to kind of speed things up. A platform like WorkStreamer is another tool for my industry. So any way that you can take what you do and get it done faster and more repeatable is going to let you take on more work. And so everyone right now is looking at AI. I mean, the enterprise clients are looking at it. Consulting companies are looking at it. The individual consultants are using it. So you need to understand its strengths and weaknesses and make yourself equipped for that. So that's some of the things that I'm looking at, how to integrate that into everything that I do. You know, it is challenging with Oracle, because Oracle is always evolving and any cloud-based software is evolving. But you know, if you understand the technology, you can put it to use.
Got it. And I've been talking with the last few weeks, we've been talking a lot about AI. So I know it's something that a lot, it's very trendy right now. And so where do you personally see that AI is going to go?
I think a lot of us are going to need to know how to use it. And right now we're in a stage where the people that understand how to use it first are going to get the most benefit. And then it's going to be just commonplace. There's going to be a component to it, of it everywhere. We just need to, like I said, you need to understand how to master tool, make it work for you. And your work is going to evolve to a higher level. So instead of coding, you can understand the high level design of an application, for example. Instead of being in the nitty gritty, you can think higher level. And so that's where we all have to go. We all have to think at a higher level, really unlock our creativity, because now the limiting factor isn't the grunt work, it's our ideas and our creativity.
Got it. Yeah. And it's crazy that I learned a couple weeks ago that AI now provides you the opportunity to code, which is pretty amazing.
It'll provide the code, but if you don't understand what that code does, you don't understand if it's good code or bad code, and if that has a security flaw. So if you know how to code, it can be great to help you code. If you don't know how to code and you try and use AI, it might not be so good.
Puts you into trouble.
So yeah, it could definitely put you into trouble. Yep.
Got it. Good to know. And what advice would you give to aspiring software consultants looking to break into the field?
Well, it's really about relationships. So the easiest way into the industry is to make relationships with someone that's in it. So a lot of folks on this call might not be in software consulting. They might be in some other IT related field. I would say identify the fields or technologies that you want to specialize in. Find some people that are good at that and see if you can, maybe you'll get lucky and they'll mentor you and give you some advice. And if not, connect you with the right folks. Like I said, one of the keys to my success is having great relationships and always doing quality work on every project. Every project I take on, I want that to be a forever contact so that I always have future work from them. So I always try and do the best job possible, keep my relationships good and build them and then stay up to date with the latest technology. So I'm providing quality service.
Got it. And then I guess how, are you, well, we'll go to the next question.
Yeah.
Are there any new tools or technologies that are particularly excited about, that you're excited about integrating into your consulting practice?
Yes. So with the consulting practice, I'm looking at a lot of different ways on how to bring the AI into WorkStreamer. With WorkStreamer project, it's a little more complicated because you do need such a deep level of understanding. The data is so sensitive of the clients, and there's a lot there. So that one might be a little more challenging. WorkStreamer Guide, the screenshot tool, looking at ways to use AI to analyze screenshots. So like if it identifies personal information, for example, it'll automatically blur that out or automatically add text based on the screenshot. So there's a lot of opportunities there, even generating voice based on the screenshot. So, there's a lot of opportunity there. The biggest opportunity is probably with Bandwidth Hero. I am working with an AI engineer right now to kind of design that, but training the AI to understand the consultants' profiles and their skill sets and understand job postings and match them up. So those are some of the things I've been looking at. I've also been really fascinated with just the AI tools in general. I've been playing around with a lot of them. More recently, some of the video editing. It's incredible what some of the video things can do. I just cloned my voice the other day. I uploaded a few minute recording, and then now I had an AI that could talk like me, sort of. It acted weird every now and then, but it was pretty interesting. Now they also have video that I could record some video of myself and then have a clone video of me. I haven't tested that one out yet, but that's some of the things I've been playing with. But yeah, there's a lot. I was also working on some landing page creators using AI to generate the web page structure, content, images. It's pretty wild.
Wow. And these video editing software that you're using, is there any particular tools that you're currently using?
Yeah, I'm using one. I think it's called Captions. I'm testing out. It's working okay. And there's another one that I haven't actually tested out. I think it's called Veed. I could pull it up real quick here. Captions.ai is one of them, and Veed.io. Those are two of the powerful video platforms.
Got it. Well, we'll have to check those out. And are those more for short-term videos or more long form?
I think you could do either
one. Awesome. I know the platform that we're currently using for this to record this video on Riverside has an AI option as well, but I haven't messed with it much. Nice. Yeah. Sure. And then thank you for sharing, Ray. And with multiple projects and consulting agencies on your plate, how are you managing your time and staying productive?
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. Everything was fine until I had a little one, and then that definitely changed the game. But I follow a program called Wake Up Productive by Eben Pagan. I've used that. It's an older program, but I use that to change my mindset around productivity. And also some of the things that he does in that is he stresses to do the highest priority tasks or highest money making tasks first thing in the morning before checking email if possible. And so I've really had to work on that. Being a consultant, I'm so used to working on email as soon as I wake up because of all the East Coast clients. So I'm going back to that. And then the other thing is working in chunks of time so that you can focus and having no distraction, turning off all distractions, cell phones, and instant message pop-ups. And then having blocks of time, either 50-10, 50-10, 30, So it'd be like 50 minutes working, 10-minute break, 50-minute working, 10-minute break, and then 30-minute like lunch or something, working in time like that. Or you could even do like a 90-minute working, 15-minute break, 90-minute working, 15-minute break, something like that. So working in those times with timers is something that I've done in the past that helps. Although I will say it is challenging when you have a team that needs support and you have a family and whatnot. So one of the other things I've done is I've got some office space out here in Vegas. So I first started with the Regus, which is like the WeWork. So basically I can get 10 days at the office per month for, I think it was like $380 or something, which worked out pretty well. And then I've ended up just going full on into an office. So right now I have a new office that I have 24/7 that myself and my team member can work here anytime we want. So that's what I'm doing now. And that's helping quite a bit.
Got it. No, that's, I'm sure, very helpful. And congratulations with going, full time with having an actual location.
Yeah, thanks.
No, and I get it.
Yeah.
I'm a mom as well. So I get the struggles of working from home. And then do you only have one, Ray, or is it?
We have one and one on the way.
Congratulations.
So,
How old is your oldest?
He's 2.5 now.
Awesome. I have a now 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. So
great.
yeah.
Oh, you're a little ahead of me.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful time of my life, but I get it. It's sometimes hard to manage as well. So you just got to make it work, which is awesome.
Yeah. And the good thing about having an office is that you can work at the office and then you can turn it off when you go home, and really having that separation of work and home. And when we work remotely and we work from the home office, we can get stuck in that gray zone where we're kind of working, we're like with our family, but then we're checking email. So I try and stay out of that as much as possible. And that helps. That helps with your endurance, because when you go independent and you take on a lot of work, you really need to be very finely tuned to your productivity and have a system in place. Otherwise, you can burn out.
Yeah, I'm sure. I get it. And then, Ray, can you share some personal habits or routines that help you maintain a balanced work and personal life? But you may have shared some, but possibly just expand.
Yeah, I mean, I try and stay moving. I'm using a standing desk. Like right now, I'm standing, so I like the standing desk. When I was really into the consulting, going gung ho, I was working 12 plus hours a day. And it really does a number on your body. So standing helps if you can do it. Also stretching, taking breaks, walking. Whenever I eat, I take a little quick 5-10 minute walk, even if it's hot out. I do a lot of yoga to help balance that out. I try and get massages, deep tissue, like sports massages if I can. I usually don't get out there as much. I did get this little percussion massager from Sharper Image that I use, which helps a lot, because we're working on computers so much. You really got to work on the back, the shoulders, the neck, things like that. So I do those things. I do meditation in the morning, probably like most folks. I think some affirmations, meditations. I try and focus on what I'm trying to do and where I'm going. And I use a little bit of infrared light, some biohacking, whatnot, and take a lot of supplements. And I've been experimenting with the carnivore diet, which has been fun and good. So yeah, a lot of things like that.
No, I recently heard that's where you eat a lot of steak, right? Or a lot of meat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of steak.
Some good stuff. And then what are your future plans for High Rise Talent and your various projects that you're currently working on?
Well, High Rise Talent, it's going good now. I have a good team. I might bring on another person or two to help run that. But my goal is really to get WorkStreamer and Bandwidth Hero off the ground. I want to get those products going and into the hands of consultants and help them and make their life easier and service those companies and those consultants. I mean, so that's really my main focus right now.
Got it. Oh, that's great. And then, Ray, where do you see yourself and your business ventures in the next 5 to 10 years?
I would like to have, I guess, the model I'm exploring now is the holding company model, so that I would be running the holding company, and underneath the holding company, there would be several different companies below. And that's kind of how I have it right now. I have my holding company, and then I have one company that's the consulting, High Rise Talent Consulting. Then I have the WorkStreamer company, and Bandwidth Hero right now isn't a company, but if I do launch it and it gets some traction, that'll be a third company. So I'd like to have 3 companies and have maybe a different person running each company. So that's kind of where I see myself.
Got it. No, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. And then what final piece of advice would you have for our listeners, especially those who are considering a career in IT consulting?
I would say definitely relationships. And also you can do a lot of things on your own. So you don't need to know everything for someone to hire you. You just need to show that you can learn and that you're motivated and driven. And so if you can go in and teach yourself some things and show what you've created, what you've learned, what you've done, that will inspire a lot of confidence. And so when I'm looking to hire someone, I'm looking to see, is this person someone that can learn fast? Is this someone that is going to be trustworthy? They have good character. Are they going to stick with me? Are they personable? Do they have good communication? Can they talk to clients? And those types of things, because you have to think it's a huge investment to bring someone on, especially if it's a small company. They're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars probably hiring a new person. So you really have to go above and beyond to show them how committed you are and driven. And that's how you can inspire them to take a chance on you and hire you.
Got it. No, that's awesome. And then if our listeners are looking to get in touch with you or learn about your work, how do they do that?
Yeah, easiest way is probably just to go to higrisetalent.com. That's HIGHRISETALENT.com. And in the top right corner, there's a LinkedIn link that will take them to my profile where you can add me. You can also go to workstreamer.com, workstreamer.com. That's WORKSTREAMER.com. And then bandwidthero.ai. So any of those, you can get in touch with me.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, Ray, and hanging out with me today. We had a lot of fun, and I got to get to know you a little bit better. So thank you for the time.
Yeah. Oh, it was my pleasure. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much.